Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. This is Shaila Akhtar, Assistant Professor English. Our today's class is prepared for the students of Honours Second Year, and we are going to discuss about Lord Byron, a poet and the creator of Don Juan, from the course of Romantic Poetry. Here is our poet, Lord Byron. His full name was George Gordon Byron. Byron was an extremely handsome man with an attractive and mysterious personality. His fashionable career was attended with a number of love affairs. He fell in love with his cousin Mary Paul when he was only 7 years old. The most famous love affair was with Caroline Lamb. George Gordon Byron was born in London on January 22, 1788. His father was Captain John Byron. As his second wife, Captain Byron married Catherine Gordon, who became Byron's mother. Byron was born with a club foot. His father died in 1791, and on the death of his granduncle William, Lord Byron, the poet, inherited the family title and estate in 1798. Lord Byron inherited the title when he was only 10 years old. Byron attended a number of schools for his education. He was sent to Harrow, a famous public school, where he made many friends. He studied at Trinity College, Cambridge. He received an MA degree from Cambridge in 1808. Now some information about Byron's creation. His first published collection of poems, Hours of Idleness, appeared in 1907 and was bitterly attacked by Brougham in the Edinburgh Review. Byron avenged himself in 1809 with his satire English Birds and Scotch Reviewers. He published first two cantos of Childe Harold's Pilgrimage in March 1812, which brought him immense fame. He published Canto 3 of Childe Harold in 1816 and Canto 4 in 1817. In Venice, he compiled and published an American dictionary. The Vision of Judgment, one of the best satires in English poetry, was published in 1822. He also wrote The Age of Bronze, The Island, The Prophecy of Dante, Marino Faliero, etc. Byron also showed his skill in writing dramas. He wrote The Two Fossarii, Cain, The Unfinished Heaven and Earth, and The Unfinished, The Deformed, Transformed. Now, Don Juan, our text, which introduced Byron to us. Don Juan's first two cantos were published in 1819. By May 1823, Byron had written a total of 16 cantos of Don Juan. The poem, as published in 6 separate volumes between 1819 and 1823. A fragment of the 17th canto was found among Byron's papers in Greece at the time of his death. Apart from his literary career, in 1809 he took his seat in the House of Lords. He spoke effectively on liberal themes in the House of Lords. He was a strong supporter of the liberation of Greece. In January 1824, he arrived at Missolonghi. He formed the Byron Brigade and gave large sums of money and great inspiration to the insurgent Greeks. But before any serious military action against the Turkish, he died of fever in April 1824. Now, let's be to the point on Byron's place in English poetry of the Romantic era. Romantic poets were inspired by nature, but William Wordsworth revolted against the 18th century pseudo-classical age of poetry and freed poetry from the inane phraseology of the 18th century. The younger poets like Shelley, Keats, and Byron were more or less influenced by the spirit of revolt. That means they were influenced by William Wordsworth and his writing. So all the poets of this age looked up to nature for inspiration. Poetry left its urban surrounding of the drawing rooms and came out with a new insight into the world of nature. So, through their individual verses, Shelley shows his intellectualism, Keats always searches for beauty, Coleridge uses supernaturalism, but Byron shows his terrific subjectivity. So nature worked as background of human emotion and sensitivity by the writings of the poets of Romantic age. Telling about the heroes of Byron, they are all rebel against the associative tendency of the 19th century. They are self-worshippers and they are always at war with society. In the vast space of silent heaven, in the boundless expanse of oceans, in the gloom of dark forest, or in her more terrifying manifestations of thunder and tempest, they are all at war. They are always ready to fight a battle. So this is why Byron's nature poetry is rhetorical and his verse is grand. Byron's experiment in Autovarima and the measure which he uses in Don Juan is his point of strength, and this measure actually suits his purpose and has made the verse flowing, and it creates a running effect from thought to thought, and it gives a brilliance and a sparkle that make it most alluring. Okay, the terrific subjectivity that Byron used in his poetry actually lies in his own lifestyle. It can be said that Byron lived his own poetry. He was not only a poet but also a poem himself. As for example, we can say, fashionable ladies in England hated him at daytime but vied with each other to go to his bedroom at night. What Wordsworth, Keats, Shelley and Coleridge could not do, Byron did, such as he translated his romantic thoughts in own life. He not only wrote about war and freedom, but also took part in the War of Independence in Greece and died there to prove that poetry was not much different from life. The revolution of 1830 and 1848 nourished themselves on the poetry of Byron, and a united Italy and a liberated Greece are examples of the influence which his poems exercised. Byron's romanticism is not only bookish or theoretical, but he proved it actually by transferring it from poetry to life. So he had a unique place among the romantics. The conservative England was not sympathetic to him though. Okay, my dear students, now let's try to remember our classroom topics. Lord Byron says that Don Juan is written in the form of an epic. It is divided into 12 books. Each book contains love, war, and a heavy gale at sea. He will specify all these according to the rules of Aristotle. He then expresses his hope that he will write prose on poetical commandments. There is little or no story in Don Juan actually. A hero is provided but left with no action, and the hero Don Juan was born in Seville, a beautiful city of Spain. There are descriptions of storm, shipwreck, slave market, and at the beginning, after giving a long description of various pleasant things, the poet has returned to his story in a cloudy night of November. Julia, the heroine, was in her bed with Juan, the hero. Suddenly, Alfonso, the husband of the heroine Julia, arrives and Juan tries to escape. So Alfonso tries to hold back his enemy, that means Juan, and Juan also choked him to be free. So blood was dropping from the nose of Alfonso, and Juan overpowered him and left the place. So he had to leave his only dress and rushed out stark naked. After that incident, Alfonso sued a divorce and all were published in the newspapers. As a result, Don Juan was sent to European countries for his moral education. On the other hand, Julia was sent to convent for purification. So, in this way, the hero is brought to London, and later on he was sent to an English country house. And on his way, here we have the descriptions of storm, shipwreck and slave market, etc. While writing this epic, George Gordon Byron appreciated Milton, Pope and Dryden, but he was very much critical of his contemporaries. He has criticized William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge and Southey. He said that Wordsworth is insane. Coleridge is a drunkard and Southey is whimsical and talks too much. Byron has given his views about the morality of his poem and assures the readers of his sincerity. He says that man is running after fame, which cannot be achieved fully. Thirsty men write, speak and preach for fame. For fame, heroes kill men, while the birds burn tapers at midnight to write poems. And lastly, he ended this canto with the hints of bribe that is frequently taken by editors of papers. So, my dear students, today I have to stop here, and I will be here very soon with another class again. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and pray for each other. Thank you so very much.